For tonight's assignment, I'm going to ask you to jump back into doing some reading and writing about writing for academia in particular. I hope that you see the important part that you have to play in this ongoing conversation. You are the very student and writer that most of these texts are referring to. So your voice should be prominent in this discussion about what academic writing is and how one does it well. So, for tonight's assignment, you will be reading and watching a spoken word poem from one of my favorite poets, Maida Del Valle. And to help you pay attention to what she's saying, I'm going to be asking you to practice a slightly different, a little more complicated form of the notice and focus exercise that we have done in the past in this class. This exercise is called the method, and it's a heuristic that I think is just as useful as notice and focus. So, pay attention to what it asks you to do. It asks you to note repetitions, similarities, and binaries in particular texts, and write about those. So I'm just going to show you where that is. It's here in week 7 under the poet and the professor. You're going to see it, get a look at your tasks. Here's the poem you're going to listen to, and here's where I explain just exactly what you'll be looking for when you're taking your first initial notes. Okay, so you will be looking for complications and tensions between Del Valle's poem and the ideas in her poem, and a series of op-eds written for the New York Times by Stanley Fish, who is a literary critic and a former professor as well. So, I'm only asking you to look at part 3 of a 3-part series. So I want to show you what that text looks like so that you know that you're going to have to actually scroll down this text pretty far to get to part 3, which is what I want you to focus on. So here it is, all the way down here. What should colleges teach? Part 3. Okay. Fish has some very strong opinions about what colleges should teach, especially in writing classes, and they are opinions that I don't hold, but I want you to notice some particular elements of his argument because next week you will be reading an article by a well-known composition scholar who challenges many of Fish's ideas and claims. So I hope that you will pay attention to a particular reference that Fish makes. Right down here, he says, I've reached some conclusions about what should be taught in college writing. And one of his conclusions is that he thinks students should forget about the right to their own patterns and varieties of language. Now, I know you recognize those words because you read the NCTE's resolution on students' right to their own language. Fish, in this article, is claiming that both teachers and students should forget about those rights and, in fact, clear their minds of them. Therein, as you might be thinking, of course, lies the heart of why I disagree with Fish. However, I want you to note his claims so that you will even better understand Monday's reading assignment. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the poem. If you like spoken word poetry, look here below this video, and I'm going to make some links to other spoken word poems by authors you probably know that you might enjoy. All right, as always, please write with any questions or concerns. Thanks. Bye.